It can be really hard to know if your relationship is headed down the wrong path. And most people don't know this, but the period between the ages of 18 and 24 can be some of the riskiest times in a woman's life. Women in this age group are 3 times as likely to be victims of relationship violence. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Robert Trainum. Joining me today is Leslie Morgan Steiner. She's a member of the board of directors of the organization One Love. Leslie, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
As I mentioned a few moments ago, it can be really hard to be in a relationship and not even know that you're in a relationship that's either mentally or physically destructive.
That's exactly true. And I think it's one of the hardest things about relationship violence is that it always starts like a fairy tale.
Yeah.
It feels that you're falling in love, and as we all know, it's intoxicating. And you have to look very carefully for the warning signs, whether you're in the destructive relationship or you have a friend or family member who is in one. And that's what One Love is dedicated to, is raising people's awareness of the red flags and the things we all can do to help victims get out of relationships that are destructive before it's too late.
Leslie, as I mentioned a few moments ago, the ages of 18 and 24 can be the most riskiest, or are the most riskiest in a young woman's life. Is that because they're so young? Is it because they're so inexperienced when it comes to relationships? Why is that age the most vulnerable time, if you will?
There are a lot of complicated factors going into that. One is that both men and women are relatively new to serious relationships at that age. So they don't have a lot of judgment. And it's also a time when somebody who was abused as a child makes a transition into being an abuser themselves. So both,
that's the only way they know.
Right. So both from the victim and the offender's standpoint, it's a formative time. And I myself was in an abusive relationship at age 22. And the One Love Foundation is named for a lovely young woman named Yardley Love, who was killed at the same age, 22, when she was a senior at the University of Virginia, and she was killed by her boyfriend 2 weeks before they both graduated from UVA.
Leslie, my understanding is that the One Love organization travels around the country to college campuses to educate, I assume, men and women about healthy relationships or the warning signs of an unhealthy relationship. Tell us about that.
Both things.
Okay.
So One Love is a national organization in Yardley's name, and we're dedicated to raising awareness about relationship violence among high school students and college students. So we travel currently to about 300 high schools and colleges. We're looking to do even more. We have a lethality assessment that's an app that people can download to their phone. So it's a 20-question survey to find out if you're in a destructive relationship or a friend is. We also have an incredible movie called Escalation, which is a 38-minute movie with a discussion guide for educators and teachers, counselors, to get people to really think about the difference between healthy relationships and destructive relationships. Because I said before, they often start out the same.
Right.
And unless you intervene or can recognize the red flags yourself, sometimes you're trapped in a crazy love situation before you even realize it.
Right. And let's go back to the app and also to the movie you mentioned. Let's say there are some red flags. Let's say a college student takes a look at the app and says, oh my goodness, this app is telling me something, or oh my goodness, I'm seeing some of the same signs that I just saw in this film. Where can they get help? Where can they get more information? Who can they talk to about this?
Well, they can come to the One Love website. There's lots of information there. Also, every college has a women's center or a counseling center where people are trained in helping people assess their own safety and what they need to do to keep themselves safe. And the same for high schools.
Leslie, we've got about a minute left. Talk to us about some of the warning signs that loved ones, perhaps they're kind of taking a look at the relationship from the outside looking in, and something doesn't feel right or doesn't look right. What are some of the warning signs, if any?
Well, the first thing is exactly what you mentioned, is a gut reaction that something is not right here. And friends and family members and colleagues, coworkers, are often the first people to spot trouble because they don't have the same intoxicating love/denial that we victims experience. And so they're in a unique position to help, but it's very hard to warn a victim, precisely because he or she, and it does happen to men too, is in love and puts up barriers. But the things to look for are possessiveness too early on, kind of an excess of love. And it doesn't, no abuser hits somebody on the first date, and they don't warn you, but they wrap it in, well, I love you so much that I need to know that you're safe. I want to have a text every hour just so I know where you are. And it's not that I'm trying to control you, it's because I love you and I had a bad experience in the past and I just want to make sure you're okay. It's that kind of stuff that you have to look for. It's very cleverly disguised. And I would encourage anybody who thinks they're in an abusive relationship or that somebody they love is in one to educate yourself as much as possible by coming to One Love, by reading about relationship violence, because it's much more complicated than most people realize.
All very good tips. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you
Really
so
appreciate
much.
it. And keep up the great work.
Thank you.
And, of course, to find out more information about this interview, go to ComcastNewsmakers.com. This is so very important. And thank you very much for this edition of Comcast Newsmakers. Take care. Bye-bye.